Welcome to the ultimate tour of human fears, where your phobia isn't just a medical term, but a full-blown personality trait. In this video, we'll dive into the weirdest, wildest, and most wonderfully irrational fears that make being human hilarious. From the ancient terror of death to the modern panic of not having Wi-Fi, you'll see how fear evolved from survival instinct to internet meme. We'll explore why your brain tells you to run from both a tiger and a group chat. And don't worry, we're not here to judge. We're just here to laugh, panic slightly, and figure out why some people are scared of bubbles. Like, really? Bubbles? Anyway, grab your blanket, lock your doors, and get ready for a thrilling journey through the strange world of human phobias. Oh, and before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe so you don't miss the next wave of fear-fueled chaos. So, what is fear really? Is it that cold feeling when your crush leaves you on scene? Or is it the moment you hear your mom call your full name from another room? Scientifically speaking, fear is a basic emotional response to danger, real or imagined. It's hardwired into your brain like a built-in alarm system. From cavemen running from tigers to students running from midterms, fear has always been part of survival. Psychologists say it activates our fight-or-flight response. And cultural theorists point out that fear is also shaped by society, religion, tradition, even memes. Some people fear snakes because of nature, others fear success because of childhood trauma, and some fear bananas. Don't ask. The point is, everyone is scared of something, even the people who say, "I fear nothing." Newsflash, if you say that while checking your phone battery at 1%, you're lying. Let's keep digging, because once you understand fear, it becomes a lot less scary, or at least easier to laugh at. Let's talk about what actually happens inside your body when fear strikes. Spoiler, your brain becomes a drama queen. The amygdala, basically your internal fire alarm, detects danger, or just a spider on the wall, and screams to your hypothalamus, "Do something." Immediately, your body launches into fight or flight mode. Heart races, pupils dilate, breathing goes shallow, and hands turn into ice cubes. Why? Because your sympathetic nervous system is like that friend who panics for you, pumping adrenaline through your veins and making sure you're ready to either punch the threat or sprint like a caffeinated gazelle. And here's the fun twist. It doesn't matter if the danger is a hungry lion or your boss calling an unexpected meeting. Your body reacts the same way. You sweat, your hands shake, and somewhere deep inside, your ancestors are yelling, "Run! Child!" So next time your crush walks past and your heart jumps like it saw a horror movie, congrats, your brain is just doing its job. Imagine a prehistoric human walking through the forest, humming to himself, when suddenly, bam, a rustle in the bushes. Is it a bunny? Or is it something with big teeth and anger issues? Thanks to fear, that guy didn't stick around to check. He ran, fast. And that's why he survived long enough to become your ancestor. Fear, you see, is not a glitch in the system. It's an evolutionary superpower. Without fear, humans would have tried to pet saber-toothed tigers and fallen off cliffs because YOLO. Fear helps you avoid bad ideas like, "Let's climb that volcano," or "I'll text my ex at 2 a.m. It's your inner warning bell saying, "Hey, maybe don't." So next time you're scared of something, just remember, that fear is the reason your DNA didn't end up as dinosaur lunch. Fear gets a bad rep. People think being scared means you're weak, a coward, or just not alpha enough. But here's the twist. Fear is actually kind of smart. Imagine you're about to jaywalk across a busy street and suddenly your brain goes, maybe not? That's fear doing its job. Like a tiny life coach in your head, but louder and sweatier. Fear keeps you from texting your boss, "I quit" at 3 a.m., or jumping into a lake just because someone double-dog dared you. It's the internal emergency brake, pulling you back before you fly off the emotional cliff. Sometimes fear even helps you make better decisions, like not attending that suspicious underground karaoke tournament. Sure, some fears are irrational, but many are downright practical. So maybe instead of hating fear, we should thank it. or at least buy it a coffee. Decaf, though, fear doesn't need caffeine. Fear may be ancient, but its wardrobe has changed drastically. In prehistoric times, you feared being eaten by a tiger. Now, you fear your boss's "Can we talk?" Slack message. Our ancestors stayed awake fearing glowing eyes in the dark. We stay awake fearing the blue checkmark next to seen. In the old days, you feared famine. Today, you panic because your phone is at 2% and there's no charger in sight. The truth is, fear has evolved with us, and it's gotten weird. We went from hiding in caves to hiding from group chats, from dodging spears to dodging awkward LinkedIn messages. But don't laugh too soon. These fears still trigger real stress. Your brain doesn't care whether it's a bear or a broken Wi-Fi signal. It just hits the alarm. Fear adapted to our modern jungle, digital, emotional, and full of judgment. So yes, we've replaced fangs with followers, but the scream is still the same, just quieter and in HD. All right, brave soul, you've survived the first wave of fear facts, and you didn't even flinch, except when we mentioned the boss's Slack message. Now it's time to preview the terrifying yet hilarious roller coaster ahead. First, we'll plunge into primal fears, like death, darkness, and anything with more than 8 legs. Then we'll tiptoe into the world of common anxiety disorders, where worrying about tomorrow becomes an Olympic sport. After that, buckle up for the bizarre. We're talking phobias so weird even your dreams would say, that's too much. Fear of colors, holes, or peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. And just when you think it's all too much, we'll end with a chapter full of hope, healing, therapy, and turning your fears into memes. Because yes, screaming into the void is valid, but laughing about it with strangers on the internet? Even better. Let's talk about thanatophobia, aka the fear of death, humanity's oldest frenemy. From prehistoric cave dwellers avoiding saber-toothed tigers to modern folks Googling, "Can you die from a sneeze?" We've always had a rocky relationship with the concept of not existing. This fear doesn't just hit during near-death experiences. It strikes in the shower when you feel a chest pain and suddenly plan your own funeral. It whispers to you before bed, "What if you don't wake up?" And don't even mention airplane turbulence. We instantly become philosophers questioning our life choices. But here's the cosmic joke. Everyone dies, but not everyone panics about it while brushing their teeth. So is it irrational? Not really. Is it helpful? Sometimes. Is it annoying when you're just trying to enjoy your spaghetti and suddenly ponder your mortality? Absolutely. Necrophobia, the fear of corpses, cemeteries, and anything that whispers, "You're next." It's not just horror movie fodder. It's an ancient reflex that makes your spine shiver at the thought of silence that lasts forever. One moment you're walking past a graveyard at night, and suddenly every rustling leaf is a zombie with unfinished business. Funeral homes? Nope. Coffin displays in furniture shops? Nope times 10. Even hearing the word mortician can trigger a full-body flinch. Some people won't even look at pictures of mummies without crossing themselves or holding their breath like ancient curses might upload through the screen. Sure, we live in an era of streaming and spoilers, but this fear remains unskippable. Because nothing says existential crisis like seeing someone permanently offline and realizing one day that'll be you too. Phasmophobia, fear of ghosts, is the reason you still sleep with one foot under the blanket. It's the irrational logic that says, if I can't see it, it can't drag me into the underworld. This fear doesn't need haunted mansions or cursed objects. Sometimes a coat hanging weirdly in the corner at 2 a.m. is enough to activate every horror movie scene you've ever watched. Kids Trumchan, Kinjao, adults leave the bathroom light on. Ghosts respect 40-watt bulbs, apparently. Whether it's shadows that move, whispers in silence, or cold breezes in locked rooms, phasmophobia doesn't ask for proof. It just appears. And thanks to the internet, we now have access to global ghost stories, night vision haunted house tours, and AI-generated screams. But no matter how modern we get, we still freeze when the door creaks and pretend it was just the wind. Probably. Ophidiophobia, the fear of snakes, is not just about venomous fangs or dramatic jungle encounters. It's the prehistoric software in your brain screaming, "Abort mission," even when the snake turns out to be a twisted garden hose. This fear is evolutionary. Our ancestors didn't have Google to check if that slithering creature was harmless. So your brain hits the panic button first and asks questions later. You could be at a zoo, watching through thick glass, and still feel your legs go jelly. Even a cartoon snake in a children's book might make you clench your toes. And don't even get started on the internet prank videos. Those surprise rubber snakes have claimed more dignity than actual cobras. In short, ophidiophobia is a built-in alarm system that shouts, "Run!" even when logic says, "Relax, it's plastic." Arachnophobia, the fear of spiders, is nature's eight-legged prank. No matter how tiny, how harmless, or how cartoonishly cute the spider is, it still has the power to turn a grown adult into a breakdancing ninja with a broom. It doesn't help that spiders move like glitchy video game characters, sudden, unpredictable, and always toward your general direction. You could be brushing your teeth, see one on the ceiling, and immediately decide oral hygiene is overrated. Some brave souls try to relocate them with a cup and paper, but let's be honest, most of us declare war. There are even people who won't sleep until they've triple-checked every corner, curtain, and closet for spider ninjas. The irony, most spiders are actually helpful bug eaters, but logic takes a back seat when you're faced with 8 legs, 100 eyes, okay, maybe 8, and the ability to disappear the moment you look away. Acrophobia, the fear of heights, isn't just about standing on skyscrapers. For some, even climbing a ladder or peeking down from the second-floor balcony can trigger full-on panic mode. Heart racing, palms sweating, legs turning into noodles. Suddenly, gravity feels extra aggressive. Evolutionarily, this fear makes sense. Our ancestors who got too cozy with cliff edges usually didn't make it back to tell the tale. But in the modern world, it turns mundane tasks, like changing a light bulb or hanging curtains, into Olympic-level challenges. Some people try to fight the fear by forcing themselves up tall towers or amusement park rides, only to regret all their life choices halfway up. And don't even mention glass floors. They're not transparent fun, they're see-through terror traps. If you've ever crawled upstairs on all fours while whispering, "Don't look down," congratulations. You're in the acrophobia club, and we're all trembling together. Nyctophobia, the fear of the dark, is less about darkness itself and more about what our imagination does with it. The moment the lights go out, your brain turns into a horror movie director. That pile of laundry? Clearly a ghost in disguise. That creak? A demon practicing its footsteps. Even your own shadow suddenly becomes suspicious. This fear has roots in our primal past, when the night held real dangers like predators and slightly more aggressive predators. But now, it just makes adults sleep with nightlights and triple check under the bed like certified ghost hunters. Some try to face it by watching horror movies in the dark, only to end up wrapped in blankets like a haunted burrito. So if you've ever sprinted to your bed after turning off the lights, don't worry. You're not weird, just historically cautious. Thalassophobia, the fear of deep water, isn't just about swimming. It's about the horrifying idea that under the surface of that peaceful blue sea, something huge, slimy, and nameless might be staring back at you. Sharks? Terrifying. Giant squids? Nope. That weird shadow? Probably Cthulhu's cousin. Even swimming pools at night suddenly feel like portals to aquatic nightmares. Evolutionarily, it made sense. Open water meant danger, drowning, or becoming lunch for something with more teeth than friends. Modern thalassophobes often pretend to enjoy beach vacations, only to scream internally every time seaweed touches their leg. And let's not even talk about underwater videos, the kind that zoom into the abyss and trigger an existential crisis faster than a philosophy class. So next time you're at the beach and someone refuses to go in past their ankles, don't laugh. They might be fighting a mental kraken. Megalophobia, the fear of giant objects, sounds silly until you're standing under a skyscraper, staring up and suddenly questioning your own existence. It's that dizzying, stomach-churning feeling when you're next to a cruise ship, a giant statue, or even just a water tank that looks like it could stomp on your soul. For some, the mere image of a colossal whale or a massive wind turbine triggers a full existential meltdown. It's like your brain sees big and whispers, "You are tiny. You are nothing. Panic now." Social media hasn't helped either. Those deep-sea renders of mega creatures? Instant nightmares. So if you see someone sweating buckets while looking at a giant balloon at a festival, cut them some slack. They're not being dramatic. Their brain is just screaming, "Run, it's Godzilla's cousin." Trypophobia, the fear of small clusters of holes, sounds harmless until someone shows you a lotus seed pod or a zoomed-in photo of skin with tiny dots. Suddenly, your brain goes into panic mode and your spine stages a rebellion. For some, even looking at an iPhone speaker grill or a perfectly ripe strawberry becomes a horror movie trailer. Scientists are still debating whether this fear is linked to ancient instincts about disease or just a modern overreaction to weird textures. Meanwhile, the internet is having a field day posting trigger warning images that are basically designed to ruin your lunch. So if you catch someone screaming and throwing their phone after seeing a close-up of a honeycomb, don't judge them. They're not being dramatic. Their brain is just convinced that those holes are hiding demons, or something way worse, skincare ads. Automatonophobia, the fear of human-like figures, is proof that our brains don't always trust anything that looks too human, but not quite right. Wax statues, creepy. Mannequins, disturbing. Animatronic robots at theme parks, absolute nightmare fuel. You know they're not alive, and yet your survival instinct whispers, "What if it blinks?" This phobia turns museums into horror mazes and shopping malls into silent battlefields of side-eye suspicion. Even toy dolls with glass eyes can suddenly feel like they're plotting something, especially if their head turns on its own. Thank you, horror movies. And don't get us started on humanoid AI robots with awkward smiles. In a world that's racing toward realistic androids, automatonophobia might just be our last primal defense. Or maybe it's just good taste in creep detection. Coulrophobia, the fear of clowns, is no joke. Well, maybe a dark one. What's supposed to bring joy to birthday parties actually sends some people running for their lives. It's the oversized shoes, the painted-on smiles, and those deadpan eyes that seem to say, "I've seen things." Blame childhood trauma, horror movies, or the fact that no adult human should be that cheerful for that long. The fear became mainstream thanks to It, turning Pennywise into the poster child for clown-induced panic. Even innocent birthday clowns now feel like sleeper agents of terror. And don't get us started on haunted house clowns. They're basically jump scares in rainbow wigs. So if you've ever avoided a fast food mascot or crossed the street when you saw someone juggling, you're not alone. Coulrophobia is real, and it's hiding behind a red foam nose. Claustrophobia, the fear of tight spaces, is the ultimate test of your ability to not scream in public. Elevators, closets, airplane toilets, or even that one weird cupboard under your stairs. If it has walls too close together, it's a no-go zone. Your brain immediately goes, "We're trapped. This is it. Goodbye, cruel world." Suddenly, you're sweating like a kettle and breathing like Darth Vader. No, you're not dying, probably. It's just your primal instincts throwing a tantrum. And don't even think about escape rooms. That's not a game. It's a panic simulator. Claustrophobia can turn a simple elevator ride into a dramatic internal monologue worthy of an Oscar. All you wanted was to get to the 5th floor. Now you're reciting your will in your head. For people with this fear, space isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. Agoraphobia, the fear of open or crowded spaces, is like having your internal GPS scream, "Retreat," every time you enter a shopping mall or a wide plaza. One minute you're casually strolling into a store, the next your brain goes full red alert. Too much space, too many people. Where's the exit? It's not just fear of crowds, it's the overwhelming sense of being vulnerable, exposed, like you're a tiny dot in a massive void. Even a park can feel like a trap if there are no safe zones nearby. For agoraphobes, staying home isn't laziness, it's strategy. Why risk a panic attack under neon lights when your blanket and Wi-Fi offer emotional security? Ironically, the fear of open spaces ends up shrinking your entire world down to 4 familiar walls and a carefully memorized path to the nearest corner shop, if it's absolutely necessary. Enochlophobia, the fear of crowds, isn't just about disliking concerts or skipping the subway during rush hour. It's a full-body horror movie where every human within a 1 meter radius feels like a potential threat. You walk into a festival, and suddenly your heart starts drumming like a rave DJ. The noise, the chaos, the brushing of shoulders. It's like your brain yells, "Abort mission." For people with enochlophobia, large crowds feel less like a fun gathering and more like being trapped in a human tornado. Eye contact? Too risky. Breathing normally? Good luck. Escaping without knocking over a child or two? Impossible. So they become the masters of stealth exits, bathroom hideouts, and ghosting group hangouts with the legendary line, "Sorry, something came up." Spoiler alert, that something is 300 people screaming to the DJ. Sociophobia, fear of social interaction, isn't just about skipping parties. It's the Olympic-level anxiety of ordering food, replying to emails, or accidentally making eye contact with your neighbor in the elevator. People with sociophobia aren't shy. They're social escape artists. Every group conversation feels like a reality show where you're the awkward contestant trying not to say something weird. One wrong sentence and you're replaying it in your head at 2 a.m. for the next 3 years. To cope, they develop ninja-like skills in avoiding human contact. Headphones with no music, pretending to scroll through their phone at lightning speed, or masterfully crafting texts that say, "Sorry, I can't make it," with just the right level of fake regret. Deep down, they might crave connection, but only if it comes with a mute button and the ability to teleport home. Hypochondria, the fear of being sick, is the Olympic champion of late-night Google searches. One sneeze? Must be bird flu. A stomach ache? Definitely appendicitis. Slight headache? Well, time to write your will. For people with hypochondria, every sensation becomes a code red. The body is no longer a temple. It's a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. They become professional WebMD detectives, but instead of peace of mind, all they find is panic. They walk into clinics with a list of 12 rare diseases and leave convinced they've missed one. To friends, they might seem dramatic, but to them, it's survival. Ironically, they often know more about medical conditions than actual doctors. But what they really need isn't another test. It's a hug, a warm tea, and maybe a digital detox from search engines. Decidophobia, the fear of making decisions, turns daily life into a psychological thriller. What to eat? Pasta or rice? Which shirt? The blue one or the slightly different blue one? For people with this phobia, every choice feels like defusing a bomb. They scroll food apps for an hour and still end up eating cereal. They ask, "You choose," and then regret whatever you picked. Their browser has 14 open tabs titled, "Should I?" and their soul is permanently stuck at a mental fork in the road. Even flipping a coin doesn't help, it just adds guilt. Ironically, they often become great listeners because they never interrupt. What they need is not more options, but someone to gently whisper, "Just order the pizza," and maybe hug them while they do it. Philophobia, the fear of falling in love, is when your heart installs a firewall stronger than any antivirus software. After a few heartbreaks, your emotional system goes, "Nope, not doing that again." You dodge romantic glances like they're laser beams, and when someone flirts, your brain hits the panic button. You become a master of the friend zone, not entering it, but living there permanently. Compliments feel like traps, and dinner invitations sound like the opening scene of a horror movie. Ironically, philophobia often strikes the kindest, most sensitive people, the ones who've loved deeply and fallen hard. So instead of risking it all again, they'd rather Netflix alone, with popcorn and a pet who won't ghost them. Love? Beautiful, sure, but also terrifying. And honestly, who has the time to cry in public again? Monophobia, the fear of being alone, turns every quiet evening into an emotional survival challenge. It's not about boredom. It's the feeling that if no one's around, you might just disappear into the void. People with monophobia will call their friends just to hear breathing. They'll leave the TV on for company and talk to the microwave if needed. Silence? That's the true villain. Being alone in a room feels like being stranded on an emotional iceberg. Even a quick solo trip to the grocery store can feel like an episode of Survivor Urban Edition. Ironically, many monophobic folks are great at giving emotional support because they know exactly how crushing it is to feel abandoned. So if your friend texts you, "Are you up?" at 3 a.m. just because they heard a weird creak in the house, don't judge. Just answer. You might be their last hope before they start having deep conversations with their potted plant again. Haplophobia, the fear of being touched, is like being a walking do not disturb sign, but for your entire body. It's not that people with haplophobia are antisocial. They just want personal space with a 10-foot radius. A surprise hug? Absolute nightmare. A friendly pat on the back? Cue internal screaming. Even the idea of holding hands feels like being asked to touch lava. This phobia often stems from trauma, sensory processing disorders, or anxiety. So it's not about being rude. It's about self-preservation. Many develop ninja-level reflexes to dodge incoming contact, sidestepping hugs, faking sneezes, or pretending to tie their shoes at the perfect moment. If you've got a friend who flinches when you reach out, don't take it personally. Offer a fist bump from across the room and a smile from a safe distance. That's their version of a bear hug. Genophobia, the fear of sexual intimacy, isn't just about awkward dates or bad pickup lines. It's a real, deep-rooted phobia that turns what others see as connection into an emotional minefield. For someone with genophobia, even a romantic movie kiss can trigger panic. Their Tinder bio should read, "Looking for deep conversations in zero touching." This fear often stems from past trauma, anxiety, or cultural pressure, making physical closeness feel more like a threat than a gesture of love. They might fake phone calls, invent urgent errands, or pretend the dog needs walking, all just to avoid intimacy. And no, it's not about being prude. It's about safety, vulnerability, and control. The worst part, society doesn't talk about it enough, often mistaking it for coldness. But beneath the layers of fear, there's often a heart that wants connection, just on its own terms, and with at least 3 layers of emotional bubble wrap. Gamophobia, the fear of marriage, sounds like a joke until someone mentions the word wedding and your soul tries to escape your body. For gamophobes, it's not just commitment issues. It's the existential dread of guest lists, seating charts, and spending eternity arguing over laundry. These are people who break into a cold sweat at the sight of a bridal magazine and consider forever as a prison sentence rather than a promise. Some had front row seats to messy divorces. Others simply fear losing their independence to matching bath towels and joint bank accounts. It's not that they don't love, it's that the idea of institutionalizing that love gives them hives. When friends get engaged, they cheer from a safe distance. Marriage proposals? They'll either faint, flee, or pretend they didn't hear. Deep down, they may want connection, but just the kind that doesn't require saying vows under a floral arch in front of Aunt Margie. And please, for the love of all things single, don't ask when they're getting married. You might trigger a philosophical rant about freedom and the illusion of monogamy. Anthophobia, the intense fear of being touched, taken to the extreme. If haplophobia makes a hug awkward, anthophobia turns a handshake into DEFCON 1. For those who experience it, personal space isn't a preference. It's a sacred force field, guarded with the intensity of a royal palace. Romantic gestures, terrifying. Even a gentle tap on the shoulder can send their soul straight to another dimension. It's not about being cold or antisocial. They might crave connection, just minus the physical contact. Childhood trauma, sensory issues, or even one too many surprise group hugs may be the root cause. These individuals have developed a sixth sense for dodging physical interaction, ducking hugs Matrix style, pretending to tie their shoes when someone reaches in for a pat, or casually backing into a corner during social gatherings. It's like emotional intimacy on hard mode. And if you truly love them, Don't try to cure it with a surprise cuddle. Respect the boundary and maybe, just maybe, offer a supportive thumbs up from across the room. Ergophobia, the fear of work. Not to be confused with Monday blues or the universal hatred of 8 a.m. meetings. This phobia turns everyday tasks, like checking emails, into full-blown horror scenarios. For someone with ergophobia, the phrase, "we need to talk about your performance," triggers the same panic as, "the zombies are inside the house." It's not laziness. It's an overwhelming fear of responsibility, failure, judgment, and sometimes even success. The office becomes a haunted mansion where deadlines loom like ghosts and Slack messages arrive like cursed scrolls. Many sufferers develop ninja-like reflexes to avoid tasks, turning off notifications faster than light, feigning Wi-Fi issues, or mastering the art of staring intently at spreadsheets without processing a single number. Deep down, these folks aren't dodging work. They're dodging the crushing weight of expectation. So next time someone disappears after getting an email with, "per my last message" in it, don't judge, just send the memes. Healing begins with laughter, and maybe remote work with no meetings. Nomophobia, the fear of being without a mobile phone. Sounds silly until you've experienced the panic of seeing your battery at 5% with no charger in sight. Suddenly, your whole life flashes before your eyes, in the form of unread messages, pending memes, and that one TikTok draft you swore you'd post later. For modern humans, the phone isn't just a device. It's a lifeline, a best friend, a therapist, and occasionally a flashlight. People with nomophobia are known to carry 3 power banks, memorize every cafe with charging sockets, and suffer mini heart attacks every time the screen goes black. Airplane mode? That's basically social isolation. Lost phone, grief, denial, and bargaining all in 30 seconds. If your phone is more important than your keys, wallet, and even breakfast, congrats, you're one of us. But fear not. Or, well, fear a little, but keep your charger close and your phone even closer. Because in the 21st century, low battery is the new horror movie. Chromophobia, fear of colors, especially when they appear in your browser. In the digital age, red means danger, green means ignored messages, and yellow means you probably forgot something important. For many modern folks, seeing a red notification badge is enough to raise heart rate more than a horror movie. Emails marked in orange? That's code for "you're in trouble." Blue ticks without replies? Emotional injury. This phobia reaches its peak during Monday mornings, when screens are full of rainbow-colored reminders of everything you failed to do last week. Some sufferers go to great lengths, turning on grayscale mode, dimming screens, or even switching to paper calendars to avoid the digital judgment of color-coded chaos. Chromophobia isn't just about hues. It's about how color became emotional landmines in the battlefield of your to-do list. So if your heart skips a beat at the sight of a red circle with the number 12 on it, congratulations, you've entered the color-coded panic zone. Technophobia, the fear of technology. No, not just your grandma thinking the microwave will explode. This is next-level paranoia. In the age of smart devices, everything talks back. Your fridge gives you diet advice, your vacuum knows your furniture layout better than you do, and your phone keeps suggesting things you swear you only thought about. For those with technophobia, every beep sounds like a warning, and every software update feels like a trap. They avoid smart homes like haunted houses and believe that AI isn't just artificial, it's actively plotting. Conversations about ChatGPT, instant sweat, robotic vacuum cleaners, suspicious. Even self-checkout machines seem to glare at them when they need help. This fear is fueled by headlines about machines stealing jobs, facial recognition gone wrong, and movies where robots rise up, which, let's be honest, doesn't help. So the next time someone freaks out because their toaster blinked twice, don't judge. They might just be fighting the first wave of the robot apocalypse, or they're just bad with gadgets. Cyberphobia, the fear of the internet. No, not just boomers being suspicious of Facebook, but a real anxiety that your digital life could explode at any moment. You posted a meme in 2011? What if someone finds it now and cancels you? You joined a shady Wi-Fi at the airport once? Congrats, you just handed your entire soul to a hacker named XXX Dark Lord 420XX. For people with cyberphobia, every notification is a possible scandal. Every inbox message, a phishing attempt. And every cloud backup, a ticking privacy bomb. Forget incognito mode, it's full camouflage. VPNs, encrypted chats, burner emails, and even talking in code with friends. The duck flies at midnight. Don't open Instagram. They delete cookies like it's a ritual and refuse to save passwords on any browser. Because who knows what Google remembers? It's not that they don't like the internet. They just think it's watching them. Constantly. With a grin. Zoom phobia, the modern social terror. Forget stage fright or meeting strangers. Today's fear comes with the phrase, "Can you turn on your camera?" For many, video calls are like surprise exams. Only worse because you can't fake a good hair day. The camera flicks on and suddenly your face is in HD. Your background exposes your messy room, and you realize you've been making eye contact with your own chin the whole time. People with Zoom phobia have mastered all excuses. My camera's broken, my Wi-Fi is unstable, or the classic, my dog just started a fire, I have to go. The truth? They just can't handle being judged in a pixelated square where every blink is scrutinized and every silence is painfully loud. It's not laziness, it's survival. Because nothing triggers existential dread quite like seeing your own face freeze mid-sentence while your coworker says, "You're muted." Fortnite phobia, the digital trauma no therapist warned you about. It begins innocently, just one match before bed. Next thing you know, it's 3 a.m., your eyes are bloodshot, and your soul is shattered from being eliminated by a 12-year-old doing a victory dance. For some, Fortnite isn't just a game, it's a public arena of humiliation. You drop in, build frantically, and die instantly. Teammates scream, your confidence crumbles, and the loading screen becomes your personal walk of shame. The worst part, you keep coming back for more punishment. Every time you respawn, you promise yourself, this time I won't get sniped dancing on a roof. But deep down, you know, some kid named XX No Scoper XX is lurking, ready to destroy you again. This is Fortnite phobia, the fear of losing badly, repeatedly, while pretending you're just playing for fun. TikTok anxiety, the modern-day existential crisis. You spent 4 hours filming, editing, syncing every beat to the latest trending audio, and 200 views, 3 likes, one from your mom, one from your burner account, one from a bot maybe? You refresh, still 200. You stare into the abyss of the algorithm wondering, am I cringe? The anxiety isn't just about numbers. It's the fear that your peak creativity has been judged and sentenced to digital oblivion by a swipe. Meanwhile, someone else's blurry video of a sandwich gets 2 million views. Why? No one knows. But the algorithm does, and it doesn't love you back. So you scroll, doubt your existence, and repeat. Welcome to TikTok anxiety, where the fear of not being seen is more terrifying than the fear of public speaking, spiders, or clowns combined. Hexaphobia. Yes, that's a real word, and no. We won't ask you to pronounce it. It's the fear of the number 6666, also known as the devil's hotline. For some, it's just a number. For others, it's a portal to doom. You'll see people panic when their receipt totals 666. Cue the frantic candy purchase to bump it up. Apartment 666, renumbered, hotel floors, skipped entirely. Even elevators get in on the exorcism. Hollywood absolutely loves it. If your horror movie doesn't have 666 somewhere, is it even scary? But what's truly scary isn't the number. It's how deep this fear runs. Rational? Not really. But when grandma tells you, don't mess with that number, somehow you just listen. Because in a world full of bad luck, black cats, and broken mirrors, maybe avoiding a few sixes is the safest bet. In Asia, number 4 is a one-way ticket to bad luck. In the West, number 13 is a cursed VIP. Welcome to the world of tetraphobia and triskaidekaphobia, where even numbers can ruin your day. Elevators skip floor 4, hospitals avoid room 13, and weddings on the 13th? Don't even think about it. The fear of 4 comes from its pronunciation in Chinese and Japanese, sounding eerily close to death. Meanwhile, the number 13 got its bad rep from a dinner party with Jesus, betrayal, and way too many horror movies. Superstitious? Yes. Harmless? Maybe. But try convincing an apartment buyer to take Unit 4B or throw a party on Friday the 13th. Not happening. These fears aren't just about numbers. They're about control. Because if dodging a digit gives us peace of mind, well, math can wait. You walk past the bathroom mirror at night. Suddenly your brain whispers, what if your reflection moves without you? Welcome to the eerie world of catoptrophobia, fear of mirrors. For some, it's just the idea of seeing themselves half awake and looking like a ghost. For others, it's the irrational dread that something or someone is watching from the other side. Urban legends don't help either. Say Bloody Mary 3 times? Nope, we're good. Mirrors have long been symbols of the soul, portals or traps. In horror movies, they're always up to no good, cracking mysteriously, showing figures that vanish, or worse, reflecting something you didn't invite in. So if you find yourself brushing your teeth while side-eyeing the mirror, you're not alone. Millions of people prefer foggy glass, dim lighting, and the sweet comfort of not looking back. You hear a story from a friend, a cursed music box that plays by itself, and whoever listens to it dreams of a girl in white forever. Logical brain says, nonsense. But deep inside, you're now avoiding antique stores like the plague. Welcome to mythophobia, the fear of myths, legends, and anything with a supernatural backstory. Even if we know it's fiction, there's something about whispered tales passed down through generations that hits differently. Maybe it's the idea that what if is just plausible enough. Superstitions aren't always scary until someone mentions a cursed ring or the don't look under the bed rule. And suddenly, your childhood fears are back with adult anxiety. It's not about believing, it's about not wanting to take the risk. Because in the horror genre of life, the skeptics are always the first ones to get haunted. You're alone in your room. The curtains flutter. There's no wind. You freeze. Your brain instantly goes full horror movie logic. It's a ghost. Spectrophobia, the fear of mirrors, reflections, shadows, and unseen stares, isn't just about seeing things. It's about feeling watched. Ever caught your own shadow and thought, who's that? Or felt a chill when passing a dark hallway? That's your primal brain whispering, run. It doesn't help that horror films have turned every curtain, closet, and corner into a jump scare factory. Add a flickering light bulb, and bam, you're starring in your own paranormal episode. Most of us don't really believe in ghosts until it's 3 a.m. and the house creaks. Spectrophobia is proof that logic clocks out after midnight, and all that's left is your imagination screaming louder than your ringtone. Imagine this. You walk into a library, smell the musty scent of old pages, and suddenly, panic. Your heart races, your palms sweat. No, you're not late for finals. You have bibliophobia, the fear of books. Sounds ridiculous? Tell that to someone who had to survive law school. While rare, this phobia is real, especially when linked to trauma from dense academic texts, strict religious literature, or even creepy horror novels. Some sufferers associate books with judgment, failure, or existential dread, thanks philosophy textbooks. And let's be honest, have you ever seen a tax law book? That thing's scarier than any ghost. For others, it's the overwhelming amount of knowledge between covers, like holding a paper-based Pandora's box. Bibliophobia proves that even symbols of wisdom can trigger fear, especially when you accidentally drop one on your foot. Let's talk about ablutophobia, the fear of bathing. No, this isn't just an excuse your teenage son uses to avoid the shower. For those with ablutophobia, the idea of bathing is truly terrifying. Water, soap, the sound of shampoo bottles clinking, pure horror. This phobia can stem from past trauma like slipping in a tub, sensory issues, or simply the fear of being vulnerable. The problem? Society still expects you to smell like daisies, not despair. People suffering from this live in fear of bathroom tiles, bath bombs, and, worst of all, relatives yelling, "Go take a shower." But hey, on the bright side, they'll never waste time arguing over hot versus cold showers. For them, the only right temperature is none. So next time someone says they haven't showered in 3 days maybe, they're not lazy. They're just medically afraid of water warfare. Welcome to agoraphobia, the fear of gold. While most people see gold as shiny proof of success, those with agoraphobia see it as a shimmering panic attack waiting to happen. The glint of a wedding ring, terror. A golden necklace, instant nausea. For them, the jewelry store isn't a treasure trove. It's a haunted house filled with cursed relics. The fear could stem from superstition, trauma, or maybe they just watched one too many pirate movies where gold equals doom. Either way, gifting them anything shiny might earn you a scream instead of a thank you. The only gold they tolerate? Maybe a goldfish. Maybe. So the next time someone recoils at your bling, don't take it personally. They're not being rude. They're just mentally battling a glittery horror film in their head. Let's talk about arithmophobia, the fear of numbers. Yes, numbers. Those little symbols that haunt your school years and sneak into adult life, disguised as bills, bank statements, and calorie counts. For some, it's not just hating math class, it's real dread. The sight of a spreadsheet, cold sweat, a calculator, might as well be a chainsaw. People with arithmophobia may avoid anything involving digits, which means budgeting, time tracking, or even setting a microwave timer becomes a horror show. You might think this phobia makes them terrible at Monopoly, but no, they're great as long as someone else does the counting. If you ever want to prank a friend with this condition, just casually mention taxes or Sudoku and watch them vanish like a ghost at a mathlete meeting. Let's dive into paganophobia, the fear of beards. While some admire a thick, majestic beard like it's a Viking trophy, others see it as a fuzzy face monster. People with paganophobia experience real discomfort, itching to run away at the sight of a beardy barista or a Santa Claus in the mall. It's not just about hygiene or bad beard oil. To them, beards are unpredictable. Is it hiding food, secrets, a second chin, or perhaps a tiny squirrel? For those affected, even a hipster cafe becomes a no-go zone. And don't even get them started on November. If you're wondering how to support a paganophobic friend, just keep your face smooth and free of mystery fluff, and maybe warn them before watching historical dramas. One Viking is enough to ruin their entire week. Welcome to magiricophobia, the irrational fear of cooking. While most people see the kitchen as a place to express love, or at least make instant noodles, those with this phobia see it as a battlefield. A stove becomes a lava pit, a knife transforms into a medieval weapon, and the timer, a countdown to doom. For them, following a recipe feels like decoding an ancient spell with the risk of summoning a smoke alarm demon. Even boiling an egg can induce a full-on meltdown, pun intended. Guests asking, "What's for dinner?" are met with pale faces and cold sweats. So if you're dating someone with this fear, maybe just bond over takeout. Or better yet, learn to cook while they cheer from a safe distance behind the couch. Panphobia, the fear of everything, sounds like something out of a sitcom, but for some, it's terrifyingly real. It's not about being afraid of spiders or heights. No, this is a full-time subscription to existential dread. Imagine waking up and feeling anxious. Because you're awake. The sun shines? That's suspicious. A cat walks by? What does it know? People with panphobia don't fear something specific. They fear the idea that something bad might happen, at any time, for any reason. Or no reason at all. It's like living in a horror movie without a villain, just the creepy background music playing forever. And if you ask them what they're afraid of, the answer might just be, "I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's coming." Androphobia, the fear of men, might sound like a dating app gone horribly wrong, but it's a real phobia rooted in trauma, anxiety, or past experiences. People with this fear don't just avoid toxic bros or loud locker rooms. They might panic at the sight of a perfectly normal dude buying groceries. A deep voice, heart racing, bearded stranger on the train, instant flight mode. Even male mannequins aren't safe. For some, it's not about hate. It's pure involuntary dread. The struggle is real, especially in a world where half the population is, well, male. So next time someone says they'd rather face a bear than a man, believe them. Bears don't talk back or mansplain. Hippopotamonstrose esquipedaliophobia, yes, that's the actual term, is the fear of long words. The irony? The word itself is a cruel linguistic prank. Imagine being terrified of long words and someone tells you the name of your condition, and it's a 36-letter monstrosity. People with this phobia might freeze at scientific terms, legal documents, or even restaurant menus that get a bit too poetic. Reading aloud becomes a game of, please don't pick me. It's like linguistic Jenga, except every syllable could collapse your confidence. And yes, this fear is real. It might sound like a spelling bee horror movie, but it highlights how language can sometimes intimidate more than enlighten. Moral of the story, sometimes the dictionary is the real villain. Xenophobia is the fear of moles, not the spy kind, but the little burrowing mammals that live underground. It's oddly specific, but imagine waking up in a peaceful European countryside and seeing a fresh mound of soil in the garden and immediately panicking like a horror movie just started. These poor creatures, with their tiny eyes and star-shaped noses, are harmless. But to someone with xenophobia, they are the stuff of nightmares. Maybe it's the thought of them tunneling right under your feet, or the fact that they're basically furry question marks with claws. Whatever the reason, this phobia proves that even the most obscure corners of the animal kingdom can send someone running for the hills, or in this case, running from the hills. Modern psychology has a surprisingly empathetic take on fear. It's not just about being a scaredy cat. It's your brain's built-in alarm system, honed over millions of years of evolution. When your palms sweat, heart races, and knees shake at the sight of a spider or a presentation slide, it's not weakness, it's survival instincts kicking in. Fear often stems from childhood experiences, past trauma, or even your genes doing their own little panic dance. Psychologists now see fear not as something to be erased, but something to be understood. It's like your brain's dramatic best friend, always overreacting, but trying to keep you safe. Once you decode its signals, you can stop letting it drive the car and instead, politely move it to the back seat, preferably with a seatbelt. Here's the truth. Everyone is afraid of something. Whether it's ghosts, deep water, public speaking, or opening unread messages from your boss at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, fear is universal. Yet somehow we've been conditioned to feel embarrassed about our personal terrors, like admitting you're afraid of clowns will immediately summon one. But modern thinking says otherwise. Instead of hiding your fears like a secret stash of snacks, try accepting them. The trick is to understand that fear doesn't make you weak. It makes you relatable. We all have our monsters under the bed. Some just look like tax documents. So next time you flinch at a spider or avoid answering a call from an unknown number, just smile and say, I'm not weird, I'm just highly evolved. Stage fright, fear of failure, the dread of forgetting your lines mid-sentence. Sound familiar? These aren't just problems of the anxious intern. They're also part of the daily routine for world-famous speakers, athletes, and performers. The difference? They've made fear their unpaid intern. Behind every powerful TED Talk, Olympic gold medal, or jaw-dropping performance is a heart that once pounded like a nightclub speaker. But instead of letting fear freeze them, they trained with it like a gym partner. Annoying, loud, but useful. Fear, when tamed, becomes adrenaline, focus, and sometimes a great story on late-night TV. So next time you tremble before a crowd, remember, the person you admire most probably once hid in a bathroom stall before going on stage. You're in good, sweaty company. Just face your fears. Sounds easy until your fear is literally facing you, probably with 8 legs or a microphone. That's where behavioral therapy comes in. No, it's not about shouting "man up" at your brain. It's more like gradually tricking your brain into thinking that, say, spiders aren't mini horror films with legs. This technique, known as exposure therapy, involves baby steps. Scared of flying? You start by looking at a plane photo, then sitting in a flight simulator. Then, maybe, booking that budget flight to somewhere with bad Wi-Fi. The idea is to let your brain get familiar with the thing it hates, like training a cat to like baths. It's awkward, uncomfortable, sometimes hilarious, but it works. Because in the battle between fear and brain plasticity, science bets on your neurons every time. Here's the thing. Fear, despite its PR issues, is actually a pretty decent life coach. It reminds you to look both ways before crossing, to double-check that text before sending it to your ex, and to avoid karaoke night if you can't hit a note to save your life. Fear keeps us alert. It humbles us. And let's be honest, it makes for some hilarious stories later, like the time you screamed at a sock on the floor because it looked like a snake. Instead of treating fear like a shameful weakness, maybe we should see it as a little nudge from our inner survival consultant. Hey buddy, maybe don't lick that glowing mushroom. Embracing our fears doesn't make us weak. It makes us real. Because nothing says alive quite like sweaty palms and a dramatic gasp over a moth. And here we are, the end of our hilariously horrifying journey through the maze of human fears. From ancient phobias to modern digital dreads, we've laughed, cringed, and possibly developed a new fear of talking to pigeons. But hey, fear isn't just a scream in the night. It's a reminder that we're alive, alert, and very much human, sometimes too human. So now it's your turn. What terrifies you the most? Comment below and let us know. Are you afraid of ghosts, deadlines, or opening the fridge and realizing your roommate ate your leftovers again? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more entertaining therapy sessions, and share it with a friend who screams at butterflies. Remember, we can't eliminate fear, but we can definitely laugh at it together.